Have you ever been someone's favorite person until suddenly you were nothing? No goodbye, no closure, just silence. One moment they're laughing with you, making plans, calling you every day. The next, they vanish like you never existed. What happened? Here's the hard truth no one tells you. When people start ignoring you, it's rarely an accident. It's a decision, and it says more about them than it does about you. Have you ever experienced someone go from fully present to completely distant almost overnight? One day, they're messaging you, laughing at your jokes, making plans for the weekend. Then suddenly nothing. No calls, no replies, just silence. You keep checking your phone, replaying your last conversation, wondering what went wrong. But here's something you need to hear. When someone starts ignoring you, it's not random, it's intentional. They won't explain it. They won't confront you. They'll just quietly disappear and leave you sitting there, questioning your worth. Yes, I'm talking about that cold, silent kind of distance that feels deeply personal, even when it's not. Some people vanish because they no longer need anything from you. Others pull away because your growth threatens their comfort. And some, they were never genuinely invested to begin with. But here's the truth that will set you free. You don't need to chase anyone. You don't need to beg for answers or demand closure, because the real strength is in understanding why it happens and refusing to take it personally. So why do people suddenly cut you off? And what does it really mean when someone stops talking to you without a word? Stay until the end, because the final insight will completely shift how you see everything. But first, let me tell you a story that holds the wisdom behind all of this. The story of a man named Ethan. Ethan was the kind of person everyone admired. Reliable, kind-hearted, always ready to help. He made people feel seen and supported. But then something changed. The people he used to talk to daily stopped replying. His messages were left unread. The once warm, familiar conversations turned. At first, Ethan told himself, maybe they're just busy. But deep down, a question started to eat away at him. Why are they ignoring me? Frustrated and confused, he turned to someone who had always guided him with wisdom, his old mentor, Mr. Harris, a retired psychologist. Sir, Ethan sighed, I don't understand. People who once appreciated me now act like I don't even exist. What did I do wrong? Mr. Harris smiled gently and handed him a candle and a single match. Light this, he said. Ethan struck the match. The flame flickered softly in the dim room. Now, Mr. Harris said, bring it close to that open window. Ethan obeyed. As the candle neared the breeze, a gust of wind rushed in and blew the flame out instantly. Mr. Harris leaned back and said, that, my boy, is why people ignore you. Ethan frowned. I don't understand. Mr. Harris chuckled. A small flame stays protected, but a bright one, it draws the wind. And in that moment, Ethan understood. People don't always distance themselves because you did something wrong. Sometimes, they back away because your light, your growth makes them feel small. You used to be familiar, predictable. But then, you evolved, you grew, you leveled up. And instead of growing with you, they pulled away because your rise reminded them of their own stagnation. That night, Ethan made a powerful decision. He stopped chasing answers. He stopped dimming his light to make others comfortable. He stopped feeling guilty for outgrowing people who chose to stay the same. And in that stillness, he found peace. Because he realized he wasn't being rejected. He was rising. So remember this: a candle that burns too bright will always make the wind restless. But that doesn't mean you should ever put it out. Don't shrink, don't apologize, don't chase those who choose to look away. Shine anyway. And now, before we begin with the first powerful lesson, ask yourself, are you being ignored? Or are you just outgrowing the room you were once comfortable in? If you find this message helpful, stay tuned, because what comes next might just change how you respond to silence forever. Point 1. They're testing your reaction. This one is subtle, but incredibly manipulative. Some people don't ignore you because they've lost interest. They ignore you to see what you'll do. One day, everything seems great. They're engaged, replying quickly, joking, planning meets. Then suddenly radio silence. No replies, no calls, no effort. Just a cold, distant energy that wasn't there yesterday. What changed? In many cases, nothing. They didn't lose interest there. Running a test, a silent test. They want to know, will you chase them? Will you double text? Will you over-explain, ask what's wrong, or beg for attention? Because if you do, they win. You've just confirmed that their absence affects you. You've given them emotional leverage. Think of it like a game of tug of war. You're both holding on to the rope until suddenly they let go. They stop texting, stop calling, disappear. What are they waiting for? They want to see if you will pull harder, if you will cling tighter, if you will chase. But here's the secret. The moment you don't react, the game ends. No reaction means no power for them to hold over you. And this is where Stoic wisdom becomes your greatest weapon. The Stoics taught that he who needs least from others is the most powerful. True strength isn't about proving how much you care. It's about being so grounded in your self-worth that you don't need external validation. The moment you stop chasing, stop proving yourself to people who are testing your value, you become untouchable. Let me share something personal. A while back, I noticed a pattern with someone I considered close. Every time I got busy or pulled back to focus on my own goals, they'd suddenly become distant. No replies, no warmth, no effort. At first I thought, maybe they're just caught up with life, but something didn't feel right. So I tried something different. I didn't chase. I didn't send follow-up messages. I didn't ask, hey, is something wrong? I simply stayed silent. And guess what? A few days later, they reappeared. Cheerful, engaging, as if nothing had ever happened. That's when I understood. This wasn't about losing interest. It was a test. They wanted to see if I'd come running after them. And because I didn't, they lost their advantage. So how should you deal with this kind of behavior? First, recognize the pattern. If someone repeatedly pulls away and expects you to chase, it's not random, it's a strategy. Second, don't take the bait. If they ignore you to provoke a reaction, give them nothing, and most importantly, remember your worth. The right people won't need to manipulate you to prove your care. They'll already feel it, because real connection isn't a game, it's mutual. And if someone chooses to play games, let them. Just don't play along. Point 2. They no longer benefit from you now. Let's talk about something even more frustrating. When people stop talking to you, not because of a fight, but because they've gotten what they wanted. One day, they're warm, friendly, making plans. The next, gone. No explanation, no effort. Just an empty silence that wasn't there before. And you sit there thinking, what did I do wrong? Here's the painful truth. Some people were never truly there for you. They were there for what you could give them. Maybe it was your support, your time, your connections, your emotional labor, or simply the way you made them feel about themselves. But the moment they stop benefiting from your presence, they vanish. It's like a power outlet. As long as their device is charging, they stay plugged in. But the moment their battery's full or they find a better outlet, click, they unplug. No goodbye. No thank you. That's why some people disappear without warning. They never truly valued you, only the energy they could extract from you. And again, this is where Stoic wisdom brings clarity. Epictetus once said, "Attach yourself to what is true, not to what is temporary." Stop tying your self-worth to people who are just passing through. You are not a power source for people to drain and discard. The right people won't just show up when they need something. They'll stave in when there's nothing to gain. They disappear when they no longer benefit people, stay when they value you not just what you provide. I remember a time when someone in my life seemed genuinely interested in me. They were always reaching out, always cheerful, always making an effort to connect. But looking back now, I can see the pattern clearly. Every conversation, every interaction, always had a reason behind it. They needed something: advice, help, emotionally, support. And I gave, because I believed in being there for others. But one day, I decided to pull back a little. Not in a rude or distant way, just a gentle pause to see what would happen if they didn't need anything from me. And guess what? They vanished. No more texts, no more calls, nothing. That's when I realized the truth. They were never really my friend. I was simply convenient, a reliable source they could draw from whenever they felt low or needed something. And the moment I stopped giving, they had no reason to stay. So how do you deal with people like this? First, learn to recognize the signs. If someone only shows up when they need something, pay attention. That's not friendship, it's transaction. Second, stop chasing those who leave. If they disappear the moment you stop providing, let them go. It's not your job to keep being useful just to stay connected. And finally, invest in real connections. Genuine relationships aren't built on transactions. They're built on mutual care, respect, and presence. At the end of the day, some people will walk away when they can no longer benefit from you. Don't take it personally. Take it as a lesson, because the ones who stay there, the ones who were always meant to. And if you found this valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful insights like this one. 3 there. Influenced by others now. Let's talk about something that's both frustrating and revealing: when someone starts treating you differently, not because of what you did, but because of what they heard. One day they're warm and friendly. The next, they're cold, distant, disconnected. And you're left wondering what changed. Here's the truth. A weak-minded person can be turned against you by gossip or outside influence. Some people don't think for themselves. They let others do the thinking for them. Instead of coming to you for clarity, they listen to whispers, believe rumors, and accept secondhand stories. And once that seed of doubt is planted, they begin seeing you through someone else's lens, not their own. Imagine them like a leaf in the wind. A strong tree stays rooted, no matter how hard the wind blows. But a fragile leaf, it gets swept away in whatever direction the wind pushes. That's exactly how these people behave. They lack a foundation of their own. So they drift wherever outside opinions take them. And if someone can be convinced to turn against you without even asking you for your side of the story, they were never truly solid in the first place. And once again, Stoic wisdom steps in. A mind that can be easily swayed was never truly yours. People of true character seek truth, not gossip. They ask, they listen, they think that. So if someone turns their back on you so easily, don't see it as a loss. See it as a lesson. I remember a time when a close friend of mine suddenly grew distant. There was no argument, no obvious reason, just a cold shift in energy. At first I thought they were just busy, but later I found out through someone else that they had been told something false about me. Instead of coming to me for the truth, they simply believed it. And in that moment, I had two choices. I could chase after them, trying to explain myself, or I could let them reveal their true character. I chose the latter. I didn't beg. I didn't try to defend myself. I stayed silent and watched. You know what happened a few months later? Months later, that same person reached out. They had finally realized that the one who fed them lies had also done the same to others. But by then, I had already moved on. Because the truth is simple. Anyone who can be manipulated against you so easily was never really standing on your side. So how do you deal with people like that? First, don't waste time defending yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. If someone doesn't value truth enough to ask for your side, they don't deserve an explanation. Second, let people reveal their loyalty through their actions. A real friend won't allow rumors to shape how they see you. They'll come to you directly. They'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And finally, be grateful. If someone is weak enough to be swayed by whispers, they were never a strong part of your life to begin with. At the end of the day, you don't lose real people. You lose illusions. So let the weak-minded drift away and surround yourself with those who think for themselves, who see with their own eyes, who don't flinch at every whisper in the wind. 4. You've stopped playing by their rules now. Let's talk about what happens when you stop tolerating control. When you finally say no more to manipulation, guilt-tripping, or emotional games. At first it might feel strange. Someone who once felt close, someone who constantly reached out, always made you feel needed, suddenly becomes distant. They stop calling, they exclude you, they grow cold. But take a step back, and you'll start to see the pattern. Their behavior changed because yours did. The truth is, when you stop playing by their rules, they lose their grip on you. Some people only maintain a connection as long as they can control the narrative, how you think, how you act, how you react. The moment you stop tolerating their subtle power plays, their guilt trips, their need to dictate your boundaries, they start to disappear. Not because you did anything wrong, but because they never valued you as an equal. They only valued their ability to control your emotions. Think of it like a puppet with cut strings. As long as the strings are intact, the puppeteer decides every move. But what happens when the strings are cut? The puppet no longer dances, no longer bends to their will, and instead of adapting to that change, the puppeteer simply walks away, because without control, they lose interest. That's exactly how manipulators behave. The moment you stop responding the way they expect, they pull back, not because you changed, but because they lost their power over you. And here's where Stoic wisdom brings clarity. The price of independence is the loss of those who wanted you dependent. True independence means standing firm in your values, even when it costs you. Relationships. People who truly respect you will adjust to your boundaries, but those who only valued their control over you, they'll vanish. And that's not a loss, it's a blessing. I remember someone in my life who constantly tried to control how I responded to things. If I disagreed with them, they guilted me. If I set a boundary, they claimed I was being unfair. And for a long time, I played along. I thought that if I just stayed calm and avoided conflict, things would get better. But one day, I stopped. I chose not to explain, not to defend, not to soften my truth. I stood firm, and their reaction, they disappeared. No confrontation, no discussion. Just silence. At first, it felt like a loss, but then it felt like freedom. So how do you handle people like this? First, recognize the pattern. If someone only sticks around when they can control you, it's not a genuine relationship. It's a power dynamic. Second, stop justifying yourself. The moment you stop explaining and start acting on your truth, they lose their grip. And finally, let them go. If someone only valued you when they could manipulate you, their absence is not rejection, it's confirmation that you're growing in the right direction. At the end of the day, not everyone will celebrate your independence. But those who leave, they were never there for you. They were only there for the control. So let them go and keep standing tall in who you are. 5. They feel intimidated by your growth. Not that you've changed for the worse. It's not that you've hurt anyone, but your progress. It reminds them of where they're not. They liked you when you stayed on their level, when you weren't a mirror reflecting everything they could be but aren't willing to work for. And when they see you rising, evolving, leveling up, instead of cheering you on, they pull away. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Some people would rather lose you than face their own insecurities. It's not your success they hate, it's the way your success highlights what they haven't done. Picture it like this. You and a friend are hiking up a steep mountain. At first, you're side by side, chatting, laughing, enjoying the journey together. But as the path gets steeper, you start pushing harder. You climb higher, you focus, you don't slow down. They begin to lag behind. They complain about how tough the trail is. They suggest turning back, or worse, they start resenting you for pressing forward. Eventually, they stop, and they say something like, "You've changed. You're not the same anymore." But what they really mean is, "I can't keep up, and instead of climbing with you, I'd rather stay where I am." And this is where Stoic wisdom cuts through. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Grow and let them decide whether they want to rise too. Your growth is not an attack. It's a test of who's willing to evolve with you and who's content with standing still. I once had a close friend, let's call him David. We used to be on the same page, same habits, same mindset, same life rhythms. But then I started changing. I began reading more, setting bigger goals, taking self-improvement seriously, rethinking what success actually meant. At first, David seemed happy for me. He'd say things like, "That's awesome, man. Keep going." But slowly, his energy shifted. He'd start with little jokes. "Oh, so you're better than us now." Always in a joking tone, but with an edge that cut deeper than it seemed. The jokes turned into distance. "You're too busy for me now, huh?" And then it hit me. He wasn't celebrating my growth anymore. He was quietly trying to minimize it. One day, I asked him, gently, "Hey, I feel like things are different between us lately. Did I do something?" He shrugged and said, "You've just changed. Man, I don't know. It's like you're trying too hard." That's when I realized I hadn't changed too much. He just hadn't changed at all. Instead of letting my growth inspire him, he let it intimidate him. And rather than evolve, he chose to step away. So how do you deal with this? First, don't shrink yourself. If someone can't handle your growth, that's a reflection of their inner struggle, not yours. Second, pay attention to shifts in energy. When someone starts distancing themselves as you level up, chances are they were never truly rooting for you. And finally, let them go gently without bitterness. Not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. And that's okay, because growth always comes with a price. And sometimes that price is losing the people who refuse to grow with you, but real friends. They don't just keep up, they push you higher. If you've made it this far in the video, leave a comment with "Thank God." And don't forget to give it a like if you've enjoyed the content. Your support means more than you know. It's what keeps me motivated to keep creating and sharing more. I hope you find value and inspiration in these stories. And I hope we keep growing and learning together. Thank you for being here, 6. You've exposed their true nature. You didn't lose them. They lost the ability to manipulate you. Think of it like walking into a dark room. At first, everything seems fine. You can't see much, but it feels okay. Then you flip the switch, and suddenly, the light reveals the dust, the clutter, the hidden mess. And now, you can't unsee it. That's what it's like when you see someone's true nature. Once the truth is visible, those who relied on deception can't survive in that light. They'll say, "You've changed." But what they really mean is, "You stopped letting me take advantage of you." And this is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Truth only offends those who are living a lie. Someone who is honest, accountable, and real has nothing to fear from the truth. But for those who live in half-truths, manipulation, and hidden agendas, truth is like poison. I remember someone in my life who always played the victim. Every conflict, every mistake, it was always someone else's fault. And for the longest time, I believed them. I defended them. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. But then, I started noticing the cracks. Small lies, inconsistencies, moments when their mask slipped. So one day, I did something different. I stopped blindly believing. I started asking honest, direct questions, and their reaction. Immediate defensiveness. Suddenly, I was too harsh. Overthinking, not the same person anymore. And then, they disappeared. No fight, no closure, just silence. Why? Because once I stopped playing along, they had nothing left to gain. How do you deal with this? First, don't regret seeing the truth. It might hurt at first, but it's better than living in a lie. Second, let them go. If someone vanishes the moment they can't deceive you anymore, they were never genuine in the first place. And finally, stand strong in your integrity. The right people will value your honesty. The wrong ones will run from it. At the end of the day, truth doesn't destroy real relationships. It only exposes the fake ones. So let those who relied on deception walk away. You're better off without them. 7. It's a blessing in disguise. Let us talk about something that feels like rejection, but is actually one of life's greatest gifts. When someone starts ignoring you, it stings. You ask yourself, what went wrong? You feel unwanted, maybe even hurt. But here's the truth. Being ignored isn't a loss. It's a filter. People who suddenly stop responding, who distance themselves without reason, aren't punishing you. They're revealing something vital. They were never meant to stay. Now, what if, instead of seeing that silence as something to grieve, you saw it for what it really is, a blessing in disguise? Think of a tree in autumn. It doesn't mourn the leaves that fall. It lets go to make space for new, stronger growth in spring. Life works the same way. Some people are seasonal. They weren't meant to grow with you forever. When they walk away or go silent, they're simply creating space for the people who truly belong in your next chapter. And this is where Stoic wisdom speaks again. Do not mourn those who leave. Be grateful they showed you who they are. Because if someone can ignore your presence so easily, it means they never truly valued it. And that's not a loss, it's clarity. I remember a friend who used to be around until they weren't. No argument, no fight, just silence. At first, I was confused, hurt. I asked myself, did I do something wrong? I almost reached out to fix something I didn't understand, but instead, I chose silence. Days turned into weeks, and then I saw it clearly. I was the one keeping the friendship alive. When I stopped trying, they didn't even notice. And that's when I realized I didn't lose a real friend. I lost the illusion of one. That silence, it was the answer I didn't know I needed. How to handle it? First, shift your mindset. Being ignored isn't about your worth, it's a reflection of theirs. Second, don't chase those who choose to leave. If someone's absence is that easy, their presence was never real. And finally, focus on the ones who stay. Real connections don't need constant proof. They just exist naturally, effortlessly. So don't fear the silence. Be grateful for it. Because the people who ignore you, they're just making space for the ones who truly see you. If you found value in this, hit that like button, leave a comment saying thank God, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights like this. Your support helps me create even more meaningful content. Let's keep growing together.